So guys, why did it matter so much to A-aron that he didn't want to let us know that he had broken up or that he and his wife have problems? Why? I don't understand, because he was a Scientologist, not part of the FLDS, or the Church of the Latter-day Saints. There's no sin in having problems in your marriage in the world. So I don't get that. I mean, marriages fail all the time. Relationships fail all the time. People have struggles all the time. Why was that such a secret? I mean, he never brought it up. And he didn't have to. But without bringing it up and talking about your family kind of let us believe something else. And that's fine. But then again, you brought it up. Something you didn't want us to know. And I just can't figure out why that happened. Why you brought that up if you didn't want us to know about it. A few people have said, thank you. I think you're honest, and thank you. Thank you, and I mean that. And when I made the comment that, I only had 22 subscribers, what I'm saying is, I'm not going to pretend to be somebody I'm not. I'm not going to act like I'm somebody I'm not. I don't make money from YouTube. If that ever changes, I guess we'll all know at the same time, right? But nobody owns me. So what I'm saying as somebody who is a follower of what's going on. And that's it, guys. So anyway, we're going to continue on. I just needed to put that out there. Hey guys, welcome back. So yeah, I'm working, and I'm sorry because I don't mean the video to be like this. I don't even know how I'm gonna get like images in it, but I'm gonna try. Okay, so I'm gonna start this timeline on November 20th because that was the first time that I knew that A-aron got voted off the board of directors for the Aftermath Foundation. And I knew that because that's when A-aron put up his video from London stating that. So, he says that 8 days ago, last Sunday, I was voted off the board of the Aftermath Foundation, so that would have been like November 12th. He says the official reason for removal was videos he put about the lawyer Graham Berry. So he says it supposedly violated a code of ethical conduct, which he didn't know there was. According to him, 12 weeks ago, the board adopted this code through a vote that he didn't know that it was adopted or that it had been approved. So let's talk about that for a second. So remember I said at the beginning of this video we're going to talk a little bit about language. A-aron didn't vote on that. That's true. But A-aron knew about it. That's true. And there was a lot of times, as we'll see through this, that 1 minute A-aron's on the board and then he's going to be voted off the board, and then he gives a 6-month notice but they say no. Or they try to, he wants a 6-month resignation, like in 6 months that he resigns, and they say, no, we're going to give you 3 months, and then he agrees on that. So, but he knew about this. He knew, because he mentions it. He knew about this. He said it was on there. He didn't understand why it was on there, but he knew about it. The fact that he didn't vote on it, he was going to be leaving. He was going to be leaving the Aftermath Foundation. Now, he's saying a lot of things. There's a lot of plates up in the air here, because that's the bottom line. He was leaving the Aftermath Foundation. He didn't agree with this, but they still adopted the rules. It doesn't matter It doesn't matter whether Florida required such a thing. I mean, Claire says that Florida does. I don't know. I think we could look that up. What matters, and if Claire's lying, she's lying. But what matters is that A-aron knew about this. And just because he didn't sign it doesn't mean it didn't go into effect or it didn't apply to him. Okay? So there's language there. He didn't agree with it, but he knew about it. Okay? So nobody did anything behind his back as far as that goes. They said that they voted on it. They might have voted on it, but they didn't include him in the vote because he disagreed with it. He already said that. He said that he said that. And they figured, well, what the hell? He's not going to be here anyway. We don't need him here to sign off on it. I don't know that everybody has to vote all together anyway. It doesn't have to be unanimous, does it? But even if it does, he wasn't. You know, he wasn't going to agree on it. He said that he wasn't going to agree on it. But, you know, I think his language lets us believe that this was done behind his back. He knew about this. Okay? What he's saying is he didn't know that it had now become law or what takes place. But he knew that they were going to adopt it in there. They wrote it. They wrote it and they said, for whatever reason, we have to do this. And he said, no, I don't really feel good about that. That's fine that he did that. But you can't let people believe that this was done behind your back because you did know about it, you know. So that's that. He himself says that for a long, long time, for a long, long time, they're getting sick of hearing about about people complaining about me, about my behavior, and what I do in my personal time. And you know, the bottom line, A-aron says, is that the group, the Aftermath Foundation, is sick of that. They're done. They don't want to hear about it anymore. Which also says they've been telling him about this. Listen, man, your behavior's not cool. Whatever's going on, it doesn't look good. So there's two parts to this. One part is A-aron says that he is one of the faces of the Aftermath Foundation. I agree. After Leah Remini, I thought of A-aron. I didn't think of Mike, and I've said that before. So that can kind of say, yo, man, it does matter your public face in private because you are the face of this. And A-aron himself said, you know, people thought of me because I earned all this money. You did earn all this money for the foundation, and I agree with you. But the bad behavior, if there's bad behavior, and you agreed, A-aron, too, that there was bad behavior. You yourself, A-aron, agreed that there was bad behavior. And if people kept complaining, in your own words, what do you want people to do? And then, as a friend, now let's forget about the board thing. But as a friend, if I'm telling my friend, yo, man, there's something wrong in your behavior, you're going down a path, it's not good, I don't know if I want to be part of this, I worry for you, you're changing, there's things going on. You know, A-aron said that nobody said to him, basically, that this friendship was this. But people did. People were complaining about his behavior. His friends were saying, yo, you know, I had friends that I had to walk away from because their behavior was going to get me in trouble. And they didn't listen. So I don't know if that's the case here, but that's what it sounds like. Okay, so for A-aron to act like they've never said anything to him, he admits himself. And he admits himself that something horrible happened in California that is deeply embarrassing. If it's embarrassing to him and he's the face of something, it's embarrassing to that too. It is. Just like a police officer, I expect to hold the law in regard higher. I expect somebody from the board from a nonprofit board that's supposed to help people, I expect them to have good character. I do. So, again, the argument of A-aron saying one thing has nothing to do with the other, I have to disagree with that. I have to disagree with that. And I'm allowed to do that. And you're allowed to say, no, one thing doesn't have to do with the other. I think it does. So, we can disagree. We can agree to disagree on that. So, so he himself says that, okay, A-aron takes control of the dialogue in certain situations. And that's a form of manipulation, whether he's aware of it or not. So there's a few things that A-aron says. So I again, did he do a great job earning money for the foundation and making the foundation as public as it is? Absolutely. That shouldn't be taken away. That should not be taken away. To make $250,000 available for people to help people, there is no way in hell that I'm going to say that's a bad thing. That's a wonderful thing. And the fact that A-aron did that and started that foundation, kudos. I mean that. That's a wonderful thing. Surprised that there's no bells going off. Okay. So again, A-aron said that for some time now, these people, Mike, Claire, and Mark, were wanting to kick him out of the foundation. And he was always skeptical about and afraid, almost like walking on eggshells, having to watch what he did and watch what he said, which definitely says they made him aware. So none of this came out of the blue. They made him aware, and he didn't curtail anything. Again, do you have a responsibility as a friend? I think so. You listen to your friends. You know, maybe you are going down a dark path. Maybe there is something going on. Maybe you do need help that you're unaware of. Do you not trust these people enough? I don't know. I don't know. But things were said. So then A-aron says that he doesn't know when things change between them because nobody had a conversation if they were telling him. Okay, so I did talk about that. Again, A-aron mentions that he had given, that he had helped Mike start his cancer treatment. There is no denying that. Absolutely no denying that. If Mike didn't ask for help and A-aron did that, it's an A+ wonderful thing. If Mike asked for help and A-aron did that, same A+ wonderful thing. Nobody's going to take that away from you. The fact that Mike took the money for what it was used for the cancer, and there's this other thing, does Mike actually have that type of cancer? I don't know. I'm going to take him at his word. I think that A-aron took him at his word. I think that he does have cancer. How severe, I don't know. But I do believe that that money was solely raised to help him, and that's what I think the money was used for. I just want to go on the record of saying that. Unless I hear something, I have heard other things, but I've seen no kind of proof about that. No kind of proof about that. So, but did A-aron then in fact possibly save Mike Rinder's life? Yes. Then there's a question. What is that owed? Like, if somebody does a favor for me, do I give them my integrity? Like, that's a hard call, right? If somebody gave me a kidney and they helped me live, do I co-sign the bad behavior if they have bad behavior? I couldn't live like that. You know, I couldn't live like that. So, I think that there's loyalty, but to me, the truth will always trump loyalty. The truth is always going to trump, because that's who I am. So I'm going to stick with the truth. If God forbid, my very best friend, God forbid, if they had a hit and run, I would tell on them. That's the type of person I am. Love me, leave me, I don't care. I'm going to go by what's right. And so just so you guys now know that about me. Okay? So okay, so then here's one thing that keeps coming up. The language of the Aftermath Foundation seriously was, we don't want to talk about this. For whatever reason, they say that they didn't want to throw A-aron under the bus. They've been consistent in that. They only brought up when A-aron made a comment, so they reacted to it. So that was a response. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's the timeline. So let's go to that. So the next thing I have, I guess, is Claire's statement, right? Claire Headley's statement on November 22nd. She starts it off with going over the board members, and then into May 23rd, 2023, events of A-aron and poor behavior being brought to her attention, and the board considers asking A-aron to leave, to resign. And there were 2 cases where police officers were involved. Now, A-aron told us what those 2 police incidences were about. I haven't challenged them. Has anybody? Here's the thing. We have let A-aron tell us his side of the story without questioning the other side and then the other side. Because again, I'm a firm believer, 3 sides to every story: yours, theirs, and the truth. Because we can't always be honest when we're in it, though we try to be, right? So we think that they're very minor incidences where the police were called, and we go by what A-aron said. One of them was at a Mardi Gras where he had a little bit too much to drink. There were police everywhere, according to A-aron, because it was Mardi Gras. And he was told, I guess, that he couldn't come back to that bar again. He was barred from the bar. Trespass from the bar was the language he used. I'm not quite sure what that means, because either you're banned from a bar, I don't know. But he used the word trespass in there, where I would have used the word ban. Unless he got something on trespassing. I don't know. I got the impression that he thought everything was fine, and when he walked away, he realized, oh, I got in more trouble than I thought. I just didn't know about it. That's the story he relayed to us in one of the things. The other thing, and I remember this story because I've been following A-aron for a long time, was in Clearwater, Florida, when he was going up for that political position, or where in Clearwater, and he went into his favorite cigar bar. And somebody got into an argument with him, A-aron, and the guy left, and the police were called, and A-aron had to tell his side of the story. So again, we went by what A-aron said. We don't really know what happened. If we go by what A-aron said, this is what happened. So you have to remember, we don't really know. We're trusting it to A-aron. Okay, so here I have, so A-aron brought this up, but in Claire's statement, she says on May 23rd, they brought the board considered asking A-aron to resign, okay, considered asking A-aron to resign. So here's what, according to A-aron, from my understanding, right, this is what A-aron said happened. They told Luis, as the president of the board, we want A-aron to resign, and this is the reasons why we want A-aron to resign, and you're the president of the board, you tell him. And Luis said, well, I don't agree with this. I'm not going to tell him. And Claire said, if we're believing A-aron, and that's fine. And then Claire said, well, Luis, if you're not going to do your job as the president of the board, step down. And I guess Luis said, okay. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that what she said wasn't true. This is only about language here. This is just about language. So because he wasn't asked to step down, they kept him on because whoever was supposed to ask him to step down said, I'm not doing that. And then he left. So I guess they had to figure out what to do at that point. But it doesn't mean that they just let that go, right? So then, on June 3rd, in violation of Article 7 bylaws implemented by the founding members, A-aron and Luis, from 2017, and she quotes the conduct. And the thing is, the conduct is legitimate. Now, A-aron says it's just boilerplate. That's my problem. He dismissed it as boilerplate, but she has a piece of paper saying this is it. Maybe they didn't follow it before. But what other bad behavior is anybody else being accused of? I don't know. Okay, so... But A-aron can't just say, oh, it's boilerplate, who the hell cares about it? No, they showed you a piece of paper and said, you see this? Whether you didn't see it before, please see it now. And A-aron says, okay. And he sees it. And that's it. Just, okay, he sees it. I don't know that he said that, but we're saying that. Because it was there. He says that it wasn't there. It was there. Because one of the arguments was Mark was saying two things. Who cares about that? That's that thing about looking out for the shiny thing when the other thing is happening over here. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So, all right, so where are we now? Okay. So he said he'd resign, but asked for 6 months. They agreed that his effective date of resignation would be September 4th. Right? Yeah. On June 3rd, according to Claire, A-aron responded. He said he'd resign, but asked for 6 months. They agreed on 3, making it effective September 4th. On August 16th, there's a conflict of interest policies needed to be adopted to keep running the nonprofit in Florida. They have 15 days to comply. This is the second thing that A-aron's talking about, this rule, this code of conduct or code of ethic. Okay. So, all board members agreed. A-aron got them. He confirmed receipt. A-aron says this. He did get them. He questioned why they were there. Seems like everybody but him voted them in. But A-aron again had already said he's leaving. He's leaving. So A-aron didn't have to vote these in. This is the thing. This is the code of ethic thing. The other, it gets confusing. The bylaws boilerplate thing, he also went against. If you read it, that's true. Then after that, they say, Florida makes you do this now, code of ethic thing. A-aron says, Florida doesn't make you do that. It doesn't matter. Let's say that doesn't matter because it really doesn't matter. If the board takes it in and more people on the board say, yeah, you know, you gotta behave better. And they've already said, A-aron, please reel it in. A-aron, please reel it in. There's nothing. So they keep trying to adopt things to maybe make him real in his behavior. They're supposed to be his friends. Maybe it's not coming from a horrible place. Maybe A-aron went off the rails a little bit. I've been off the rails. I'm not judging here. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, let's be fair. Let's be fair. Let's not let anybody take a conversation and tell you how to figure out the dialogue. And I hope that that's not what I'm doing, because I'm really kind of quoting what people are saying here. All right, so I just want to load this up, because if I wait too long, I'm going to have a problem. So I did actually work between that. I keep coming back and forth, and I still haven't I haven't done anything as far as putting anybody's images or anything through. So let's continue on, because it's only going to get busier for me here. So on what did that? Okay, so on, I think I said August 16th, there was a conflict of interest policies needed to be adopted. Okay, I did say that. And it seems like on September 4th, A-aron informed the board that he's not going to resign. He said that he would, but then he decided that he's not going to do it. And I don't know why Claire kind of jumps around about this, so it's not me. She then says on August, wait a minute, why am I here? I shouldn't be here. Yeah, this is Claire's statement. Yeah, it is. I'm sorry, I should be here. I'm sorry. So, yeah, because she does jump around, you can see it in the video. So on September 4th, A-aron informed them verbally, said he's not going to resign. Now remember, 6 months ahead of time, he said, give me 6 months, and no, please give me 6 months to resign. And they said to him, we'll give you 3 months to resign. And then he said he's not going to resign. Okay, so here, this is important. Okay, this is important. So on August 29th, Claire reads this. Okay, she's got on August 29th. And this is from A-aron. So if this is incorrect and the dates are incorrect, don't blame me. Check it out yourself. Please don't ask me to check it out. I actually stopped the video and said, I don't understand the dates. Okay. But this is true, okay? As far as what's said, because even A-aron admits to this. She gets a letter or an email from A-aron that says, I never sent you anything after our last phone call, which was last Sunday. And I said that I would. Stop there. That's a huge deal. That's referring to the change of behavior. Now, A-aron said that he was going to do something, and he didn't do it. And they're asking him to change his behavior, and they're trying to give him chance after chance. If somebody was giving me a chance at something I wanted, I would show up for that chance. A-aron did not. And he admits that. And you guys are getting mad at the wrong people for that. He says that he didn't want to beg them. But he put that in his head. They didn't say beg, A-aron. They said, we don't like your behavior, A-aron. We don't like what's going on here. We feel like this isn't a good look for us. Or maybe we're worried about you on the side, if that had nothing to do with the board stuff. Maybe they said, we're worried about you, A-aron. What can we do to help you, A-aron? You're going down a slippery slope, A-aron. And maybe A-aron just said, I don't want to hear about it. Just leave me alone. I'm getting money from what I'm supposed to get money from. I'm able to survive for myself. I got you so much money, Mike, and you were able to start your cancer treatment. And maybe they said, none of that matters because of the way you're behaving. We worry for you. Maybe they said, we worry for you. I would hope that they would say that if they're friends. That we worry for you, and professionally, it's not a good look for us. Okay? So, A-aron also says at one point that him and Claire cried, and he said, listen, let me prove to you that you're going to want me in 3 months. Let me prove to you. That's what A-aron said. But then it seems in this timeline, when there's something that they need to bring, or something he needs to show up for, he doesn't. On September 3rd, they allow him to stay because he commits to being better, for lack of a better word. He admits to his shit and says, all right, guys, listen, I'm going to reel it in. I'm going to behave myself and all this. And then on November 6th, he violates the rule. He violates the thing, and I guess that's the Graham Barry situation. Does it matter? There's so much stuff at this point that now if they're looking for a reason to get rid of him, I mean, they kind of have some valid excuses, you know, and maybe they took that so that it would save them a lawsuit. But if that was my friend and there were bad things happening, and listen, I can only use my imagination. We don't know what happened in California, okay? But I know that if a friend of mine, again, kept saying, hey, man, reel it in. Hey, man, reel it in. Hey, man, reel it in. I'd have to question what's going on. And he did. Even A-aron said, I made bad choices. I made bad choices. So people were telling him that, and he was ignoring it. And then he decided okay, let me straighten up here. Let me straighten up at this time. Not when they really want me to. Let me do it in my time. It doesn't work all the time. You know, that doesn't work all the time. So on November 6th, they say he violated the old, I think it was, he violated, and it doesn't matter which rules he violated at this point. Again, they're looking to get rid of him. I would agree with that. They asked him to resign on November 8th because of, I guess he's saying the Graham Barry letter, and he says no. And on November 12th, they vote A-aron off the board. That's the timeline that I have. So that's from Claire's statement. Okay. We have A-aron's final last statement on November 23rd. A-aron talks about transparency and being an open book and being himself. And that's when I think when A-aron talks about having problems in his relationship, I say I'm not sure that was such an open book, because I think if a lot of us believed something because you either didn't say anything about it, or you kind of insinuated things like, it's time to go eat with the family, I gotta go with your, I mean, there were things that you said that totally made us believe, and I'm sure you were going to eat with the family, even if it was one of your daughters. That's family, right? So, you know, I think that some of the words you used led us to maybe believe something else. Whether you were aware of it or not, A-aron, only you know that. Only you know that, because I can't prove whether you're aware of it or not. So, so A-aron says that they didn't want to, okay, so now, A-aron says that they didn't want them to speak of the change in the Aftermath Foundation, and then he says, in his defense, why didn't they say anything? So that's true. So it's always been that the Aftermath Foundation didn't want to say anything for whatever reason. That's been consistent, whether it be to help them or help A-aron or whatever. I don't know, but it's been consistent. They didn't want to say anything. And to be fair, they really only said something that I'm aware of after A-aron said that he was voted off, and he started saying why. And to their defense, they're allowed to say something too. But then on A-aron's final last statement, the time stamp would be 4:07, where he says something to the effect of, you'd have to look at it, something to the effect of, they didn't want to speak about the change in the Aftermath Foundation as far as the board of directors. But then he says, you know, shouldn't we have, well, you might ask why they didn't want to say anything. They've already said they didn't want to say anything. See, and you could look it up, there is a manipulation of language there. You know, he's saying, listen, they did this wrong because they didn't say anything and there was no joint statement. Okay, you have to partake in that joint statement, and they didn't want to say anything from the get-go. They didn't want to say anything from the get-go. So and they've told you that. And they thought that you would agree to that. Not that you did have to agree to that. You didn't have to agree to that. But I think that's what they were saying. And I don't have a dog in this park. I don't. I'm going strictly by watching A-aron's stuff. This is from A-aron's stuff. And then I did do the Claire, I did listen to her video, what she had said, obviously, because I want to be fair in this. So, but A-aron says, you know, there's something wrong with this because they didn't want to say anything. But again, they never wanted to say anything. So don't taint the conversation. Don't manipulate that, please. So, A-aron says that there'd be a joint statement from the beginning, but there can't be a joint statement if A-aron's not a part of it. And again, A-aron keeps saying they did this in secret. They didn't let people know. They didn't let people know. But again, their whole dialogue was, we don't want to let people know. Maybe they were looking out for him. I don't know. We're going to find out, unfortunately, because everything in the dark comes out in the light. And let me be clear on something. We should be very careful. Me too. We should be very, very careful. There's a statement that Demi Moore wrote in her book. And it stuck out, and it resonated in me, and I live by that statement. That's one of the statements that I live by. I live by a few, but this one as well. Once you decide who somebody is in your mind, they can never be anybody else. So don't be so closed-minded. Not only does it work for negative, when people say the most negative things, if you have a predetermined idea of who this person is because you've listened to all these other people and you're like, yeah, this person's got to be a rotten person, everything they do you're going to see rotten if you have a closed mind. If you believe that this person is all that, well, that's cultish. So be careful with that, because you don't want that. You don't want to just go by one person's thing, by one person's explanation. You have to look and see, just like you don't want to go by one news. If you want to know what's going on in the world, you can't just watch one news station, unfortunately. You have to get other views, other perceptions. That's how, and just because something is wrong doesn't mean there's a part of it that isn't right. Just because somebody steals, okay, if somebody steals something, it doesn't mean that they're guilty of worse. It doesn't make them a bad person. Why are they stealing? I mean, there's so many different variables that we really have to be careful. But if you decide that A-aron is perfect, then I could show you anything, and you would keep that. You would keep that in your mind. If that's the case, that's not good, because nobody should be all that. That is cultish behavior. So what I'm saying is, you gotta, please, if you've listened this far, I don't know why you would be if you don't see any credit or any kind of validity in what I'm speaking or what I'm saying, right? So, okay, so that looks like, those are the things that I wanted to bring up. So yeah, so A-aron got kicked off the board, and it's too bad, because he started a great foundation, and that should always be something that we should give A-aron credit for. And I hope the next foundation is even better, because sometimes spite is a great motivator, right? And I don't mean in a bad way. You know, you're not really spiting anybody by having a better organization and bringing in more money. You're just showing them that you could do that. I know that there's more things that I wanted to say, but I feel like this is so long as it is, and I do have to put some images in here, because I usually do. And I do want to put this out. It's 4:30 in the morning. I do want to put this out before I leave here, because when I leave here, I do have a little bit of a life, and then I'm going to have to go to sleep again. And there's other things that I'm interested in. You know, there's other things. There's the sister wives. You know, that's something I like. I'm interested. I want to talk about that. And even the 90-day stuff, I want to talk about that. I don't want to just be stuck with this. And somebody said to me, why don't you do things of your own creation? One person said that. And I said to myself, if you look at my channel, there's a lot of stuff that I do on my own creation. You might not like it, but it's there. It's there. Again, I'm still finding my way. To all the people that have been really kind to me and have given me a chance, I don't know how to thank you, except to honestly say thank you, and to hope to do well by you. And I hope that I do. I hope that I do. And that's it. So guys, thanks again. This is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip, and thanks for allowing me to be part of your day. Please like, subscribe, share, and follow, and all that good stuff. It is so appreciated. And please be better today than you were yesterday, but not half as good as you're going to be the day after. Take care, guys. Thank you.